This girl named Coraline moves with her family to an old depressing house because of the financial situation the family is going through. She's a neglected young girl and her parents too tired to care. And so this isolation will lead her to find a wonderful place to escape reality. But as always, the longer we run from reality, the harder it is to come back. The movie starts with a sequence showing the process of fixing a rag doll. Oh yeah, it might look like a little cute stop motion version of the toy maker fixing Woody in Toy Story 2, but no, this really got me traumatized. And I'm in my 20s. And please don't shit your pants just yet, because this scene symbolically shows what the hideous witch does to the children once she captures them and sews the buttons on her eyes. We know this thanks to the book, where the children describe that the witch tears out everything they once were and everything that matters, leaving behind a simple and empty shell. So technically, this is what the witch did to one of the characters we will meet later. One thing about Coraline is that it is usually very overthought. The bug theory, the door theory, the uncut grass at the minimum 4 theory, which means that actually Coraline lives inside Einstein's testicles. Yeah, some of the theories are that unhinged. So we are going to give this a different and I guess more realistic approach. We now see a big house named the Pink Palace Apartments, where a family recently moved to that place. Also, there's a weird looking Russian emoji on the rooftop for some reason. The movie guy only gets a miserable $1 tip. That lets us see how poor they really are. Then we see Coraline going out to explore the surroundings of her new house while playing with a branch that guided her. She looks for a secret well. While she does, she's followed by an ugly cat, and this kid that behind that cool outfit is just an acoustic kid named YB Bourne. He tells us his grandma owns the Pink Palace, but he has never entered it because they say it's dangerous, especially for children. The next day we see the average interaction of a blue-haired girl with her mom.
I almost fell down a well yesterday, Mom.
Uh-huh.
I would have died.
That's nice.
She tries to get her mom's attention, but she doesn't seem to care much. She really seems tired from the move and an accident, plus she only has time to think about her job. She gets fed up and tells her that she has unpacking to do, but not before giving her a package that YB left at the door. And it's a doll identical to her that the boy found in Grandma's trunk, which I'm sure he used for more than practicing kissing. She goes to see her dad, which is literally me, spending my good years in front of a screen to make ends meet. She's in need for attention, getting to the point where she annoys her father to get to listen to her. But it makes him wonder why didn't he just wear a condom. And so she doesn't bother him. He suggests that she explore the house, telling her, just let me work. Clearly Coraline feels this deep indifference from her parents towards her. This affects her deeply, as she just moved to a new place, leaving her friends and good memories behind. And we see how she hates her new reality. Her room is grey, it rains all the time, bathroom is disgusting, and as we all know, for someone who hates their reality, it's easier to fall trapped for things that make them evade it. Mysteriously, the doll moves by itself, and when she picks it up behind a cardboard box, she discovers a secret door that will take her away from her bleak reality, but for now it's blocked with bricks. Later at night, finally they have a little cute wholesome dinner. Nah, just kidding. The food looks disgusting, her mom is angry, and her dad is just too tired. Coraline goes to bed reminiscing about her old friends, while the creepy doll looking at her while she falls asleep. Oh hell no, that couldn't be me. A little white mouse wakes her up and she starts chasing it until she reaches the small door, but now it doesn't have the bricks, but a kind of corridor is formed to the other side. It looks kinda safe, and when she gets to the other side, she realizes that it's the same room she was in a few moments ago, only it's a little different. She smells something and goes to her mother cooking, but oh no, the mamacita has buttons instead of eyes. Coraline is very surprised, but she clarifies that she is her other mother. Her father, far more drippy I must say, can also play sick tunes. Coraline enjoys an amazing banquet with all kinds of food and drinks, even with a cake that says welcome home. But still they take her to her room, who is also a very colorful place that fascinates her. So feeling all happy and actually loved, she falls asleep. But when she wakes up, she returns to her original boring room. Coraline quickly turns to the door on the wall, but again is blocked, as if it all had been a dream, or severe mental illness. Coraline tells her parents what she dreamed about, but as usual, they don't pay much attention. And when they do talk to her, they say shit like this.
Because I have a terrible case of writer's rash.
on my...
Coraline feels alone despite having her parents present all the time. They are just two apart. A loneliness that manifests itself in her dreams for wanting to be treated differently, to giving her excessive attention, to indulging her whims, things she doesn't get in the real world. So she can just shut the fuck up. Her mother sends her to visit the neighbors, and since she's not exactly busy, she sets off. First, she heads to the top floor, where the crazy Russian man lives. She peeks into his crib, and the crazy dude comes out of nowhere to reinforce his privacy and close the door on her. Only by looking at it, you can accurately predict how bad he smells. He tells her he's making a mouse circle, but he's not ready yet. Apparently, he was a gymnast or something like that, but as we can see, meth is hell of a drug. She flees the scene kinda weirded out, but when she was about to leave, she almost cuts his nuts. Though I don't think he's using those that much these days. Bobinsky tells her something important. The little mice warned her not to cross the little door. Though the man doesn't really understand what they mean. Coraline says that it was just a dream and that the door is blocked. To which he's like, yeah, whatever, and returns home. Coraline feels something very strange is happening. Even so, she decides to greet her neighbors downstairs. Miss Pink lets her in and Miriam prepares the tea. They used to be very beautiful actresses who filled entire theaters. However, those glory days are long gone. But don't worry, ladies, I, and I'm sure many of us, have that degenerate friend that would do anything that moves. Shout out Christian. They are still trapped in the past. Everything is shown with their stuffed deck dogs on the walls, which makes for a very mid-century goth article. They say they couldn't bear to part with them, so they keep them, like a metaphor for not wanting to let go of the past. Miriam arrives to the tea to also read her cup and to know what awaits for her. Her facial expression changed completely. Now she's very worried. She tells her that she is in terrible danger, as they can see a horrible hand. She leaves the place and encounters the acoustic boy, who tells her the reason he can't go inside. His grandmother had a twin sister who mysteriously disappeared when they were children. So that's someone else letting her know about the dangers. So all of them are warning her about the door. However, knowing that it is dangerous, this fantasy world is so tempting that she decides to return. You fucking stupid. When you cross a door and know what awaits for you, it makes it easier to open it a second or a third time. So the soon-to-be crackhead plans everything to repeat that magical experience. She finally sees the mines, where the passage to the other world opens again. She meets her other mother again. The woman was cooking and asks her to go get her other father, who's, what are the chances, actually gardening. I don't know if I say this, but her real parents' work is writing about gardening, but they don't even go outside, so yeah, that's the joke. While she goes to him, Coraline is amazed, because it was a magical and alive garden. While she contemplated it, her dad shows up on a mantis-shaped helicopter. Pretty cool whip, by the way. And they took off to have a better view of the plants, which forms Coraline's face. So that means it's fucking ugly. She's fascinated with this reality, because here she does receive attention from her supposed parents. Attention and affection that every teenager deserves. While they have dinner, her mother tells her to go up and see the mice show along with his neighbor, the other white bee, which, apart of having an immaculate style, doesn't talk at all. And she likes this way more because now she will be heard. When they get into the top floor, the kids are welcomed with an awesome circus, and inside the circus tent the show starts. And the mice do pretty awesome stuff, to be honest. It's honestly pretty impressive, even more when you consider this is a stop motion movie. Just like the critical acclaimed movie, The Alien, The Space Hamster, and The Burrito.
Burritos are food.
Also, we get to see Mr. Pubensky when actually showers. Coraline goes to sleep. It was a great night for her, but she wakes up back in her depressing reality. This time we see her frustrated, almost like she never wanted to wake up from that fantasy. And just like that, little by little, she's losing herself. She runs down to see if the door works, but it is locked. This feeling of hatred for her life increases when she tries to tell her parents the great dream she had. However, they ignore her completely. They are very stressed about the delivery of a gardening catalog. Honestly, I don't even blame her parents. I do feel every day what it's like to be a financially poor. So I can't imagine on top of that having an ugly, intense, annoying child like that. So now Coraline and her mother are buying these school uniforms, which are grey and boring. She spots some colorful gloves, but gets furious when her mother doesn't buy her shit. Coraline complains to her mom about the closed door, and she knows that she hid the key. She did it because, yeah, rats were getting inside, which is another of the many disgusting plagues that the house already has. And it doesn't help that Coraline just fits them. Coraline doesn't like her life at all, so she decides to evade it, literally escaping from her reality. The moment her mom leaves, because their fridge is as depressing as mine, she really does need to buy groceries. Coraline desperately runs to look for the door key. She can't even wait for nighttime. She wants to return to that world now. Her mother hid the key, but Coraline manages to get it, watches no one is around, and confirms that indeed this world is beyond her dreams. Coraline is happy to return to her other life, but the cat knows the girl is falling into a trap. She arrives at the kitchen. There is food and clothes that her other parents gave her, along with a letter which says that the neighbors invited her to a show. She puts on the clothes and leaves the house. Blood crosses path with the cat. He doesn't have Button's eyes either, can't glitch the matrix, and also can talk.
Shh, I hear something.
Toyota.
He tells her that this world is not a dream come true, and leaves when he heard something. Coraline goes down to her neighbors, where it's no longer a dark and yeast infection smelly basement. Now it's a huge auditorium full of dogs, and the show begins. And it looks like an 18+ movie, but if it was produced by, I don't know, TLC.
Oh my God, is you're still dressed, Michael.
But now the saggy old ladies have aesthetic bodies. They are agile and move with grace. Coraline had a great time, but everything is about to change. The show ends and the other parents receive her outside of the place. She excitedly tells them everything, but we see that for some reason Wybie is very worried. The other mother takes Coraline to the house, turns around and forces him to maintain a fake smile. This is when we finally know the truth. The other mother proposes her to stay forever. The other father also tries to convince her, but there's a condition. They sit her at the table and take out some kind of a gift for her. The innocent girl opens it, and so if she wants to stay, she must change her eyes for buttons, symbolizing not wanting to look at the reality, not wanting to face it, being blinded by this dreamlike world that soon will be turning into a nightmare. Since having to sew buttons on one's eyes doesn't sound like a very pleasant experience in my personal opinion, but hold on, the red ones look kinda sick though. She tries to avoid them and doesn't let them accompany her to bed. She locks herself in a room and barricades herself with furniture to block the entrance, and sleeps to return to reality. But when she wakes up, Coraline realizes that she didn't make it. This world has completely trapped her. But at least she got some solid 8 hours, because trying to escape a fantasy world out of sleep would definitely suck. She goes down the stairs and tries to enter the living room, but it's blocked. She tries to talk with the other father to find out where the other mother is, but some hands silencing. Coraline wants to go look for the other Wybie, however the father tells her no, because he made a long face, thing the other mother didn't like, adjusting the piano silencing completely. Coraline runs away terrified. She runs through the forest to try to escape from that world. But the world is just like in games when the designers don't want you to go off the map. The cat explains that the other mother only created what she knows Coraline would like, because she needs something to eat. No matter how much she walked in a straight line, like in GTA San Andreas trying to reach the end part of the map, she found herself back in the house. It's an infinite loop. The cat detects something weird and catches a little mouse from Bobinski's circus and annihilates the cute little thing, only it's not that cute and reveals itself to be horrible. So it's fun that he killed it, because we all know ugly stuff deserves to die. Coraline understands that beautiful reality hides horrible things. Now she wants to escape from this world, but the other mother won't allow it. She forces the entrance of the room, and when she heads towards the small door, this one is blocked and the other mom is sitting and doesn't want her to leave. So the hideous bitch reveals her true self, which is actually scary and disgusting, to be honest. Coraline is paralyzed with fear. The deformed thing grabs her and locks her inside a mirror. When she leaves, the portal turns into sun, leaving her trapped. In that world, there are another children who were deceived by that bitch. The kids tell her she says she loved us, but she ended up consuming our lives. Not killing them, but consuming them, offering stuff they don't have in their lives. Almost like everything that can be used to evade reality. Bad habits, vices, etc. They tell her that if she helps them find their eyes, they will be free. But in that, Wybie takes her out of the dungeon. There, Coraline stitches lips. The boy helps her enter the door to be able to return. Coraline doesn't know if she should enter, but since the woman was heading towards her, she decides to do it. However, in the real world, everything has deteriorated, and she lost the notion of how long she has been evading reality, and now her world is completely neglected. She looks for her parents, but they are nowhere to be seen. He knocks the door and asks her to return the doll he gave her, since his grandma wants it because it belongs to her missing twin. Coraline realizes that one of the ghost children was the grandmother's missing twin, and also was one of the dolls we saw on the intro sequence. Yeah, so dark. The girl tells everything to YB while she continues looking for the doll, and she acts completely deranged and crazy. So basically every blue-haired girl, and keeps him out of the house. She even tries to call her parents, but no one answers. Her real world has been destroyed. She lost her loved ones, and now she cries till falls asleep. Suddenly the cat jump scares her with his ugly face. Yeah, we get it, bro. You have blue eyes. He shows her that her parents are also being captured, so she decides to face her demons and get out of this. She packs a few things, including a stone that her neighbors gave her. Before entering, the cat tells her that the other mother loves games, and if she challenges her, she will surely accept. When she returns, the other mother greets her. A rat brings her the only key that exists. She closes the door, blocks the entrance, and eats the key. Ew, before even watching it or washing her hands. Coraline sits at the table and sees the fate that waits for her if she doesn't solve this problem. So she proposes to play a game with the other mother, which makes her buttons shine like a gambler looking at anything with color thinking in a slot machine. Coraline wants to find her parents and the eyes of the trapped children. If she succeeds, they all are free, but if she loses, she lets her sew the buttons on her eyes. Coraline accepts because gambling your and someone else's life is always the solution to everything. Coraline demands a clue, and the woman tells her that in every wonder she built for her, there is an eye. She has to do it before the moon stops shining. So she quickly runs to the first one, the garden, and with the object she was gifted, she can easily detect the eyes. The other father comes out and he's attacking her against his will, though at the end he ends up helping her. Next plays the theater, which is full of ugly bad dogs hanging from the ceiling. Good things uses them to get the eyes. She still needs to find the last eye and her parents. So she goes to Babinski's circus, where he's made of disgusting rats. I would actually cry like a little girl if I saw that in real life. She thinks everything is lost, but her cat helps her with the last eye. Now she only needs her parents, but time is about to run out and the world starts to destroy itself. So Coraline puts the cat in her bag and enters the room. The other mother now is in her next transformation of an average Victoria's Secret mother. Coraline knows that even if she finds her parents and wins the game, she will not keep her promise and will not let her go. So very intelligently, she sets her a trap. She tells her that her parents are behind the small door. While the ugly bitch checks that they are not, Coraline looks for her parents and finds them. The spider spits out the key, opens the door, and checks that nobody's there. So she tells her that she's lost the game. Coraline pulls out a 200 IQ move and throws the ugly cat at her face and saves the sphere. The cat does a great job and rips off the buttons. But the other mother gets furious and turns the room into a giant spider web. Coraline falls on it and is chased. However, she manages to quickly climb to the door, where she fights with all her strength to close it, and my heart was pounding, almost like I wouldn't know what happens next. She closes it, cutting off the other mother's hand. She runs to the other side and puts an end to it. She crawls to look for her parents and realizes that the snow globe is broken. At that moment, her real parents come through the door and the little girl runs to hug them. She tries to explain everything, but apparently they don't remember, or that didn't happen to them. Things went well at work. They accepted a new book, so they are calmer now, because surely nothing bad will ever happen, right? Then we see how they cover her and her mother leaves her a gift, which were the yellow gloves she wanted. However, she doesn't stop having bad dreams as she meets the children who are now angels, and they warn her that she is in danger. She must get rid of the key because the other mother will look for it. She frees herself from her nightmares, but only when that happens, some traumas and bad memories remain somewhere in her subconscious. She's not completely free. Once it develops, old traumas can't be ignored or just disappear. They are now part of her personality. When the girl wakes up, she leaves the house with the key, and we see how the mechanical hand is chasing. Coraline wants to throw the key into the well, but the hand attacks her. However, just in time, YB arrives and saves her. My man, the real hero of this story. Her environment is still pretty similar. Same parents, same house, same ugly ass haircut, but she is a different person. When we can't change reality, we can change ourselves. The girl enjoys her reality with her real parents and neighbors at a garden party without having to evade herself to feel good. A reflection on how our expectations and lack of acceptance can lead us to dangerous paths, but facing our fears and accepting reality are essential for our personal growth. Thanks for watching.